Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Gulfstream today, and welcome to beautiful Gulfstream Park. It is Ron Nicoletti along with Acacia Courtney, and good afternoon. We got a fast main track, firm turf course, an 11-race card this afternoon, and there are some really good handicappers around here. Not only that they beat me and beat the expert, that was very easy. They hit the Rainbow Six again 2 days in a row. So I remember just a few years ago when it started, it used to take weeks and weeks. Now they just, boom, they hit it like that. So some really good handicappers out there, and especially the three that beat me yesterday in the Rainbow Six.
Yeah, so we do have, how many winners did you have yesterday?
2.
Well, you know, like I was saying, when you have just an 8-race card versus a 10 or 11-race card, it's a little bit easier for somebody to beat you. But congratulations to Mike Diliberto, Michael Cook, and Kelly Collins.
Kelly Collins, and they had 3, so just one more than me, and they deserve it. And can't wait to see you. Send us a picture of you guys wearing those shirts.
We want to see it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go like that.
It keeps us humble, I guess, right?
Beat the expert. Now, next Saturday, right here, beautiful Gulfstream Park, the biggest Derby watch party. It says it right there. Florida's largest Derby party is right here at Gulfstream Park. And you see all the great stuff they're going to be offering.
Yeah, you're going to get a Kentucky Derby t-shirt with your program purchase. We'll have mint juleps, of course, the hat contest, just lots of fun. And the Friday before is, of course, the Kentucky Oaks. That is Friday, May 5th. Our first post then will be 12:55 p.m. But you see, Silks is open at 9 a.m. and you can have advanced wagering on the entire Kentucky Derby day card.
They got that Derby double, which is the Kentucky Oaks and Kentucky Derby. Of course, you got to buy that on Friday, and you got the Derby Pick 3. So if you can't make it here on Saturday, or you want to bet the Derby double, you got to be here on Friday. And you know what? You got to come back on Saturday, otherwise you don't get the beautiful T-shirt. So that's what's happening now. We have a lot of horses from right here at Gulfstream Park going to participate in both the Oaks and the Derby. And one of those, really a fan favorite, is Gunavera. And Gunavera is going to be one of the top choices in the Kentucky Derby.
I would imagine he is. He is one of those big one-run closing types, and he did win the Fountain of Youth here at Gulfstream. We want to go backtrack and watch that performance. He was the #2 that day. You can see Gunavera, and that's an Irish war cry in that field as well. He did fade a little bit back there, but a big performance from 3 Rules and Practical Joke up front. But Gunavera, ultra impressive in this performance in the Fountain of Youth, and we will see him leading up to the Kentucky Derby. The Connection's been very active on Twitter, keeping everybody posted. I think the entire country of Venezuela, and of course everybody here at Gulfstream Park cheering for Gunavera.
And there's a Venezuelan jockey on top of that horse. Javier Castellano decided to ride Gunavera in the Kentucky Derby. And guess what? Javier will be joining us here this afternoon. He's riding 3 or 4 horses. So lots of things to like Venezuelan way.
Absolutely. And of course, big congratulations due to Javier Castellano, now elected to the Hall of Fame. So looking forward to seeing him here today. Well-deserved honor.
And you remember Gunavera come back and ran okay in the Florida Derby, but he had a terrible post. He had to get over there. So I think I'm expecting him to run well in there. So that is next Friday and Saturday. But we got to look at this really nice 11-race card we have this afternoon, and we're going to start it off in race 1 with the Super High 5, Rolling Super High 5. 7 or more participants in a race. We have the Rolling Super High 5, and it takes a while, but it builds, and it's a great bet. It's a $1 wager. You pick the top 5 finishes in that race. And of course, we have 2 pick 5s every day. And the first one starts in race 1. And Acacia will have her 2 tickets. She'll show you her first one in just a couple of moments. And as I mentioned, Acacia, they did it again. They got the Rainbow Six, but we have a special guarantee today.
Yes, we do. $50,000 guaranteed. That was going to be guaranteed regardless of whether they hit the jackpot yesterday or not. So you definitely want to take part in that. That's just a 20-cent wager. It starts in race 6 today. And then we kept things off in the 7th race with that 50-cent late pick 5. I'll take a stab at that as well.
Yeah, we took care of all the early business. Now let's look at the first race on Saturday. As I mentioned, fast main track, firm turf course. First is on the turf, 7.5 furlongs. Claim is 3 and up. Non-winners of 3 in life or 3-year-olds. They run for $10,000. Scratch the #9 horse in here, the main track, only Bucate. And please note that if Abby Medina, the apprentice, is now a 7-pound apprentice throughout the afternoon. Just add, anytime you see it, add 3 pounds. He was 10. He's got enough wins. Now he goes down to 7.
Moving in the right direction.
Moving in the right direction. Now let's see your ticket for the first pick 5.
All right, we'll give you a look at my ticket. I do have a single here. It's going to be in the last leg. Still affordable, just $32. So 2 horses spreading with 4 in the second. That low level claiming wanted some coverage. Then 2 in the third. Also using some coverage with 4 horses in the 4th race, that maiden special weight. And then my single will come with War Correspondent in the 5th race. Unfortunately, we did have some scratches in there. I just really always thought that that was the horse to beat. So that will be my single today.
Well, I started off, and I don't know if you did, with the number 7 Toast the Kitten, who's dropping to this $10,000 level, returning to the turf after winning 1 of 2, $15,000. Claim is contested. That was on the Turfway Park synthetic surface. It's Wesley Ward. I want to show you a stat real quickly on Wesley Ward going from synthetic to turf with 3-year-olds only. He's 10 for 45, 22%, 42% in the money, and a positive return of investment, $2.75. Now, did you have this one on top?
I did. This is the horse that I used on top, and that's a great stat to look at as well. Of course, his last win did come on the synthetic, and he actually broke his maiden through disqualification on the turf, but I think that perhaps the turf, he might be able to transfer that form just fine. He's by Kitten's Joy, of course, so I did land on that out of respect for the connections. I also used the number 1 Wonder Frolic stretching out in distance. I just like this one, second time in the barn of David Fox, and 18-1 early in the wagering. So I'm using the favorite and trying to get a bit of a price for the early pick.
Yeah, I didn't use that one on my ticket. I'll go back and revisit that, but I did go with the number 8 horse who you have in 4th and 2nd, Silver Spun. This one is stretching out to the 7.5 on the turf. He responded to a drop down to the 12.5 level with a 4th place finish on the dirt. Son of a Candy Ride. He's bred top to bottom to like the turf, and that was my reasoning there. Just figured I'd take a shot, and he ran okay, you know, against similar competition.
Yes, and if you look back to his last, actually his only turf race, the one time he got on the turf, it was against Starter Allowance Company. Of course, we are still figuring out how fairgrounds horses will transfer their form here to Gulfstream, but on paper it was against tougher, and he's got some speed to him as well.
Got to mention Weezer Gone Gray, number 6 horse, and he does his best running when on the lead. I don't know. They took him off the pace last time out. Ridden today by Martin Ramirez. I think he's got to go up, and he's got to play Catch Me If You Can. And he's, you know, I don't know if he can make it all the way, but certainly has to be on my super high 5 ticket. And we mentioned starts right here in race number 1. We'll go to race number 2 now. 6 furlongs. Claim is 4 and up, 62.50. You went with the number 3 horse in here, and that's Little Awesome.
I did. This one comes out of a pretty good race, actually. 2 next out winners from that race, including the 2nd place finisher, I'm Stepping It Up, who won his next race by 10 lengths. So I thought that it was competitive. He was chasing that fast pace in there. You see they went 22-1, 44-3. It was a very fast race. And now he is first off the claim. For Rashawn Creaky, he was also drawn to the outside that day. I just think there's a lot of upside in him today. Much better post position, and we've seen the barn doing very well lately, including with new claims.
Well, I went with the number 7 Zachary's Pitch. It should be primed and ready to score. Returned from that layoff. Duel throughout. Finished 3rd, beaten a little over length by a horse, and here was the morning line favorite who you have in second, and it's All About Diva. The latter, as I mentioned, going to try and make it 2 in a row.
Yes, All About Diva did win last time out. Was absolutely the horse to beat after a trouble trip last time out. Still looks like the break is a little bit of an issue for All About Diva, but I did see this race as having quite a bit of speed, including our top selections. And if that does come to fruition, I thought the 2 Cold Blood might be able to improve off of that last performance. He was off slow. I really liked him last time out. Just thinking now, Luca Panici in the saddle, he might be able to reap the spoils.
And, you know, perfect socks. How could you leave him off the ticket? Everybody knows I belong to the Sock of the Month Club, so I threw that one in. But he's debuting locally. He hit the board in the 6 consecutive races at the fairgrounds, so he's consistent. Maybe he'll be on the ticket. Also want to note there's a jockey change in the one Make That Rider, Brandon Menard.
What kind of socks do you have on today?
Polka dot.
Oh, I
with
like
turquoise
it.
in them.
I like it.
Yeah. Got my old polka dots on today. Let's go to the 3rd race. Forget about my sock. 3rd race today, 1 mile claimers, 3 and up, non-winners of 2 in life, $6,250, 5 in the field. I went with the 5 Woodburn. So did you.
I did, and I really liked this horse last time out when he was 12-1. You're not going to get that on him today because he ran a huge performance last time out. And we'll go back and show that race. This was on April 15th. We're going to pick it up from the quarter pole to the wire. He was the number 9 that day, and he was actually towards the back. The number 3, who's out in the front, I just want to highlight the number 3 horse right here. You see him in the front. That was the eventual winner, and we'll just let it roll from there. Eric's Talisman got the jump on him, but I thought Woodburn was closing really strongly, and you can see right there just how wide he is as well, and making that sustained run. That was going 6.5 furlongs, so he is stretching out to the mile in here today, and I assume with that he is going to be a little bit more forwardly placed. He does have a win at this distance already, and I thought he was just coming on very strongly again. Just missed it at the wire.
Yeah, 2 for 4 in the money at the distance. I certainly think he's the one to beat in there, and he's, you know, the odds-on choice on the morning line. I went to the inside, and so did you, with the Lemon Royal. That's number 1, beaten a half length when facing this level of competition. That was at 7 furlongs. A couple of starts back, drops, pressed the pace, tired. A little tougher last time out, and that was going a mile. So a logical contender. I think the race goes through the 5 Woodburn, but I got Lemon Royal on the ticket. I think he can run okay.
I agree with you, too. I think Woodburn the one to beat, but on the drop-in class, you do have to respect Lemon Royal. He is just 1 for 25 on form, but he does make some good late runs.
Yeah, we have the 4 on a ticket, High Dandy, and the 2 also in there, and that is River Running. So it looks like the 5 is the one to beat in there, and we'll see, unless you have other designs, and we'll see how it works out. Not you, those people out there. 4th race this afternoon, 7 furlongs. These are maiden special weight 3-year-olds and upward. We have 6 in this field, and we both went with the 5 again, and that's Blind Ambition, who's turning back to 7 furlongs. He set the pace. He finished a drifting 3rd when beaten last time out.
He was, and we'll go back and show that performance because he did have a little bit of trouble early on. Now we're going to start at the break, and we'll just let it roll right there. He is the number 1, so breaking from the rail, and we're going to go until they get to the first turn, because that's where the trouble happens. We just freeze it right there. You can see there he is in tight. He gets bumped by Borsavento, the number 3. And now we'll let it roll from there. He manages to get out of that trouble, get out to the front, show that speed along the rail, and get into a position that he needed to be. Now he's out to the front. He's pulling away from the rest of the field. And then we're going to freeze right there, because there he is, drifting off of the rail. He ends up just going this way instead, leaving the rail open, and now we'll just let it roll through the finish. So he has Eastport, the number 8, coming along the inside, who ends up winning, and he has Donwell on the outside coming around to get second, and Donwell did come back to win in his next start. He managed to, talking about the 1 Blind Ambition, managed to hold on for 3rd in that race. Maybe just shot out a little bit too fast with the speed, now gets less distance, so I did like him in this spot.
And it's Todd Pletcher, as we mentioned, ridden today by Hall of Fame inductee Javier Castellano. So lots to like on that horse. I went, and so did you, with the number 4, 4308 North. And what was this about, Saratoga?
Yes, I believe it's the coordinates for Saratoga, so that's how you say it.
Oh, you look on the map?
I am trusting track announcer Pete Aiello with that information, so that's a quote.
I knew
from
there
him.
was some story about it. So stretching out to 7/8 of a mile after rallying 6 wide. He was a little wide in that race. He improved. He finished 3rd, going 6 furlongs. 3rd career start might be the charm this afternoon.
Maybe it is. And you see that he was so wide in that race. I actually thought there was no reason for him to be wide. It was kind of on his own account. He really had no response when he was first asked, and then kind of kicked into gear later. And again, it was pretty much his own fault that he was out wide like that.
Yeah, we got our 3rd and 4th picks. Flip. So we'll go to our first of 2 stakes races this afternoon. And this one is the 1 mile, 3-year-olds and up with $100,000 guaranteed. Is the Miami Mile. It is a grade 3 event, but it looks like we got hit with a couple of scratches, and he has scratched the 1 Diamond Bachelor, also scratched the 5, all included the morning line favorite, and the main track only Zulu, who is not would only run if this race was taken off the turf. And we have 1 jockey change on the 6, make the rider J.A. Garcia, and this is where you singled in your pick 5, and I can understand with War Correspondent. It looks like the race is his to lose.
Absolutely is. And I actually liked War Correspondent even before the scratch of All Included. And we'll go back and show his last performance to kind of highlight why. This was in the Grade 1 Gulfstream Park turf, of course, a Grade 1 event here. And you can see on the outside is the number 8 All Included, who is a scratch in here, of course, but we're going to focus towards the inside on the number 1 War Correspondent. We're showing the head-on of the stretch, and what I want to highlight right here is actually this horse right here. That's Beach Patrol, who ends up drifting, and we're going to let it roll from there. And you can see the number 4 Beach Patrol drifts out, pushing now War Correspondent out. He's pushing him out, pushing him out. Looks like they've got some clear racetrack, then Beach Patrol comes back and bumps right into him. Will freeze right there. Now War Correspondent is stuck out here. There was a disqualification of Beach Patrol from that, and we'll just let it roll through the end then. So because of that, War Correspondent was bumped up to 3rd through disqualification because he did have to deal with that bumping.
Yeah, and this is his most productive distance. You look at it, he's had 3 races at this distance with 2 wins in the 3rd. Is Christophe Clement, Tyler Gaffigoen returning on the 7-year-old son of Warfront. And I went with the 4 in 2nd, and so did you, and that's our way, who's eligible to take on another step forward. He returned from the layoff. He finished 3rd in the Appleton. Was a really nice race that day. H. James Bond is a trainer. Nick Juarez will be in the saddle. I think this one is certainly a logical contender.
Absolutely is. And if you remember on that day, the track was really heavily favoring speed types. It was very tough on both turf and dirt for anybody really to make up ground. That was really the first race that all included did make up ground in that race. Very close between him and Delta Prince. Good race by our way. Looks like he's coming in good form.
Well, I moved the 3 Lubash up into the 3rd spot with the scratch of all included. This one, another from Christophe Clement. He's making his first start. He finished 2nd, but he was placed 1st over a disqualification. That was in a Grade 3 tropical turf handicap across town at Gulfstream Park West. He's a 10-year-old. He's a 17-time turf winner.
Yes, he is. He's had 18 wins out of 51 starts. It is so hard not to root for this horse. Definitely a fan favorite, if you will. And he was checked by Rose Breyer last time out. We saw that happen quite a bit at Gulfstream Park West, where the hedge and a lot of horses would drift in or out because of that. So he did get to reap the spoils of that, now making his first start of 2017 as a 10-year-old.
Well, let's take a short break. When we come back, show you my Rainbow Six. And don't forget, $50,000 jackpot guarantee today.
At ExpressBet, we celebrate the champions that make horse racing great. That's why we provide more ways to bet from more places than ever. We've built an entire family of brands to give players more of the rewards they deserve, give bettors the information they need to win, and provide a community for horse bettors. Because the best way to support the champions of horse racing is to champion horse racing. ExpressBet, we are racing.
Welcome back. Ron and Acacia, race 6 this afternoon, 7.5 furlongs. Turf course is firm. Claim is 4 and up, $10,000. Do have a scratch of the outside horse in here, and that is number 10, Regal Kitten. As we mentioned, Rainbow Six starts here, $50,000 jackpot guarantee. So you got to jump right in today. You got a chance to maybe hit this thing 3 days in a row. And let's show you my ticket in here, $38.40. I went 3 deep here, 4, 6, and 8. And you see the progression as it goes down, 2, 2, and 2, 4 in the 10th race. Got my long shot in there, the 7 horse. We'll talk about that. Looks like the lone speed to me. And then in race number 11, just 2 horses. Want to keep it affordable, $38.40 for me.
Looks like a good ticket. I had trouble finding a single later on in the card as well, but it is a pretty fun sequence to bet as well. And it's not an easy way to start things off.
No, it isn't. This race, that's why I went 3 deep. I wish I could have gone 5 deep. And I want to know, how did you start it off?
Well, I ended up on the number 8, Chivalrous, on top in here. And I think that there are a couple ways to go. Certainly the 4, Not Today, is going to take quite a bit of money, and rightfully so. It was a good win last time out, and I liked him last time. But I thought that there was a bit of speed in front here. And it looked to me like, certainly Not Today could be closing, but it looked like Chivalrous would be able to close off of that. This is his 3rd start in the barn of Armando de la Cerda. He is now facing open company for the first time, but it's at the $10,000 tag after he faced non-winners of 2 and non-winners of 3 against a little bit tougher. He's been undefeated since moving to the barn, so I like him in this spot.
Yeah, he really just cruised to his 2 and 3 lifetime conditions, so he's going for his 3rd consecutive victory. But I did go with the number 4, Not Today. Now I really like the horse that scratched out of here, 10 Regal Kitten. So I didn't have him on top. I had him in 2nd, but I thought the race race, revolved around him. So now I think it's more wide open. Not today. Moved to the Angel Kudos Bond after that claim. Going to try to make it 2 in a row. He responded to the drop down in competition with a neck victory at the same level and distance. So like Chivalrous, in good form. He's going for his second consecutive. Chivalrous is going for his third straight win, and that's why I used both of them on the ticket.
You can certainly see that, and if you look 2 starts back, he was well beaten, talking about not today, but that was against much tougher competition, and then he faced even tougher in the Little Magician prior to that. So he's a horse that's been in very good form. He is going to be closing from off of it. I like that Tyler Gaffalione stays after the claim. Now, what does concern me is that when he notched that win last time out, that was after just a 7-day turnaround. Now he comes back in just 10 days again, so been pretty quick between races in his last few starts, but I absolutely do respect him and tactically as well.
Yeah, and you can count on one hand the horses that didn't run well. First off, the claim for Saffie Joseph Jr. One of them is the 6 for All the Marvels, but he's dropping to the 10 level. That was at the 16 level. He spotted perfectly, I think, for this 10 tag. Edgar Zayas in the saddle this afternoon. I thought that the drop was going to help this horse.
And he will be on the engine early, showing some speed. We did see the 3rd place finisher, Rock Eagle, come back and win with Mr. Magic in second yesterday as well.
Let's go to race number 7 this afternoon. 1 mile allowance optional claimer, fillies and mares, 3 and up, or the optional claiming tag of $25,000. Jockey change on the 1. Make the rider Eduardo Nunez. The weight is 124 pounds. And we both have the number 3 Crowning Affair on our ticket. And let's take a look at your Pick 5 ticket.
Well, as you can guess, I certainly did use that horse on top. And as I alluded to earlier, I had a tough time singling in here. But 3 horses to kick things off, 2 and 2. Using 3 horses in the 10th race and 3 in the 11th as well. The 10th, of course, being our stake. $54 for me today.
Well, Crowning Affair stretching out to a mile. The first start since finishing a rallying 3rd behind a repeat winner called Paulie's Express. That was his 7-furlong dash. He was here on February 24th. Ralph Nix, Tyler Gaffalione. Want to show you a stat on Ralph Nix. Layoff of 61 to 180 days on the dirt right here at Gulfstream Park. 17 for 77, 22%, 57% in the money with a positive return of investment. Everybody knows how well Ralph Nix does. I was surprised by the positive return of investment, even though it's just a little over $2. That's what intrigued me with that stat.
Well, I do think that you have to respect that, absolutely. And I like this horse as well. Maybe it is a little bit of a hunch bet for me for my pageant days, but I do think that I like that she's coming in off the freshening. She had some solid races prior to that, even finishing a solid performance in First Level Allowance Company in tougher competition during the championship meet. So I do think that she fits in here for sure. I'm really intrigued, though, by the number 4 Indian Chaser, who's shipping in from Tampa for Gerald Bennett. And this mare, she is going to be on the engine early. She looks like the main controlling speed to me in here. We have seen some speed from Ava London in her last couple of starts, but I just don't know if she's quite as quick as Indian Chaser. And I will be interested to see how she transfers her form.
And Gerald Bennett, an excellent conditioner, does incredibly well up at Tampa, and he will have 50 horses here during the summer. So Gerald Bennett, does see how this horse runs. You take a little note down. I missed it. I didn't put it on the ticket. I did go with Ava London for all the reasons you mentioned. Changing barns. Angel Penna Jr., now $90,000 daughter of Adios Charlie. Faces winning. She used the speed, as you mentioned. Could she make it 2 in a row? I don't know. And then Untrue drops for the 25 tag today. So I think it's a wide open affair, and I got to hope now that the 3 wins it.
Yes, absolutely. That seems to be the main one we agree on in here. Yeah, Untrue coming out of the same race as Amaluna. I did prefer Amaluna out of those 2 who got the win that day. She will be closing very strongly at the end, though. We know that.
Well, let's go to race 8 this afternoon, and this one is 7 1/2 furlongs on the turf, maiden special weight, 3-year-olds and upward. We do have a jockey change in here, and on the number 2, make that rider Eduardo Nunez. The weight is 124 pounds, and as we mentioned, every time you see Abby Medina running today, remember to add the 3 pounds. He's no longer a 10-pound apprentice. He's a 7-pound bug, so that's positive for him. So just put that in your handicapping in here, and we both seem to fall on the number 6 Flag Officer.
And there are some beautiful pedigrees in this race for sure, and I think Flag Officer stands out on paper for a couple of reasons. One, because there are a couple horses in here, and we'll get to in a minute, that I think you do maybe want to steer away from as a top pick, but Flag Officer gets a notable possible jockey change to Tyler Gaffalione today. And what I also think is notable is that he debuted against maiden $40,000 company, stepped back up to special weight last time, and he finished a good second against Snicker, who was absolutely the horse to beat that day. He is by Warfront. He is kin to multiple Group 1 place U.S. Ranger, of course, and he's got a lot of speed. He's a 5-year-old horse just making his 3rd start, so that's the negative, but I do think his speed will help him today.
Well, the number 5 Editorial is a beautifully bred son of Warfront, debuting for trainer Todd Pletcher with Lasix. Series of solid workouts showing up at Palm Beach Downs. Javier Castellano is going to be in the saddle this afternoon. Want to show you a stat over the last 5 years with Todd Pletcher. First-time starters, 3-year-olds, maiden special weight on the turf, right here at Gulfstream Park. He's only 4 for 54, 8%, 31% in the money with a 84-cent return of investment. Not what he does. And we don't have to tell you what a great trainer Todd Pletcher is. Just one of the angles down, you know, cautionary stat we wanted to throw out there.
And I think that's a really important one to look at. It will also apply to his other horse in here, the number 8 Robusto. Of course, I do expect Editorial to take a lot of money, not only because of that, but also because he is kin to Uncle Mo. That's his half-brother. So we'll see what he does when he hits the racetrack today.
Well, the number 1 who you have in second is King Morrow, is listed as gelding. He's going to turn back today to this mile distance. He went up, he dueled for the lead and weakened at the 8 pole, but it was going longer last time out.
It was. He'll turn back in distance from the 9 furlongs, and I think maybe the stretch out last time out and the fact that he had the rail, he was much more forwardly placed than he ever had been in his career. He's a gelding now, and we'll see how he does fitting in this spot.
Race 9 this afternoon, 5 furlongs on the turf. Claimers 3 and up, non-winners of 2 races in life, $10,000. Clean slate, no scratches, no jockey changes in here. I went to the inside, and so did you. We were almost agreeing on a couple today. Yesterday, we didn't agree on anything. 1 Blackjack Baby's dropping to the 10 level, and the first start since finishing a rallying fort, beating the length. It was a 16 claimer at the distance. It was back on January 21st.
And if you look at that race, yes, he is coming off of a 3-month layoff. He was bumped up to 3rd through disqualification. He had to be so wide in that race. Of course, there was some drifting from Contractor Jack, but I think that he also had to steady. He did get in some of the trouble because of that, but he's got a great work tab since then, especially his most recent one, 5 furlongs in 59 and 4. I think he's coming in strong, and I think he'll be more forwardly placed than he was last time out.
Yeah, got the bullet work that day, as you mentioned, in 59 and 4. You went to the outside with your second pick, who I have in 4th, and that is Federal Reserve. C.J. McMahon will be in the saddle, handling the outside post, going 5 furlongs.
He certainly didn't handle the 7.5 last time out. It was eased last time, and he was hustled from the rail 2 starts back, showing speed going the 5 furlongs, but I do think he has speed. I think he'll show speed from the outside today, and I like him better at the 1 turn.
Well, 3 Policy Portfolio is who I have in second, is dropping a notch, hoping for a clean trip. This one, you know, he had to check at the 3-year pole. Then he steadied a little bit in the lane before finishing. He actually faded to finish 8th in there, and I just think with a clean trip, that was 12-5, 2 lifetime claimers. He can be somewhere at the wire, but I think I like Blackjack Baby a little better in there.
I do as well, but I'm going off of Policy Portfolio's race 2 starts back. I thought he ran huge in that performance behind Axtell, who did come back to win again from the Cassie barn, so I think that he's certainly one that warrants respect.
Well, you picked on me yesterday for not picking horses coming out of key races. Well, this one's sort of dropping to 10 level. I'm talking about the 4 right at my alley. Showed some earlier entries, tired to finish 6th behind a repeat winner called Eloy Rod. It was a 25 claimer at the distance. Doug Seiler, Miguel Vasquez named to run. He's got to be a bit of a price on the board. I think he's 6-1 or something like that. Just threw it out there. Now, our co-feature race of the afternoon is race number 10. 1 mile, fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up, $100,000 guaranteed. It is the Powder Break, and this is a really nice race. We're going to scratch the number 13 in here. That's the main track only, Cat's Diva. And I just thought that this was the best betting race on the card. Interested, we both have the 6. Every time I look up, I say this.
Well, what I think is good is that we both have the 6 on top, but then everything underneath is different. And Stormy Victoria is absolutely the one to beat, but I don't think she has to win today.
Right. No, I mean, she's, you know, she's trained strongly at Payson Park in preparation first start. She hit the board in 2 of 3 grade 3 races before the layoff. Christophe Clement, as you know, we got a stat in this. We'll show him layoff of 61 to 180 days in non-graded stakes on the turf right here at Gulfstream Park. He's 3 for 8, 38%, a limited sampling, 50% in the money, but he's got a $7.07 return of investment. I'll tell you why. One of those winners was Paige, who won the Via Borghese and paid $21.40 that day. And then just the other end of the spectrum, Celestine won at 70 cents to the dollar. So he is able to do this, coming off a layoff and winning in these stakes, graded or non-graded.
Yes, I think no matter how you slice it, he's an excellent conditioner, particularly on the turf. And this mare, she is a little bit of a tough nut to crack, because if you look at those graded stakes races that she did hit the board, and it was on turf courses with more give in it. She had a soft turf at Belmont and the Athenia, and then a good turf prior to that, and she did have some good performances there. But I thought that she ran a pretty solid race last time out in the My Charmer. There was absolutely no catching Isabella Sings that day. We've talked about the track at Gulfstream Park West, especially the turf course. Isabella Sings went out to the lead, and there was absolutely no looking back that day. So I can be a bit more forgiving for that. I like the work tab at Payson Park since then. I do have some interest, though, to the outside in the number 11 Inside Out for Marty Wolfson in here, who got the win last time out, and I thought it was in a very tough field, facing tough competition in all of her starts prior to that. She ran against Somersault, Mississippi Delta, Sendiva, just very, very tough competition. We'll go back and show that last race. This was on March 30th. She was the number 5 that day, and she was last through the early part of the race. We're just going to let it roll. I just wanted to pick it up at the quarter pole. She was closing very wide, and she was very game. You can see her there in the red silks in the blue cap, and we'll freeze right there. Just wanted to highlight how wide she is. She's out there wide on the outside beyond the rest of the field, and now we'll just let it roll through the wire. And again, she was just very, very game to get the win that day. Ridden by Paco Lopez. She'll have Nick Juarez up today. She does have the outside post to deal with here today, but I think that she might be one, perhaps at a little bit of a better price to include.
I want to talk about my long shot real quick in here, and that's the 4, and that's Cali 37, the number 4 horse in here. Me, on paper, the lone speed, 12 to 1 on the morning line, one of the horses I am certainly going to use. You saw my Rainbow Six ticket, had that horse on the ticket.
I like it. I do think the 10 Elusive Million will be forwardly placed. I think that she's got some speed to her as well, and perhaps even King's Ghost from the far outside, but the main speed of the speed will definitely be Cali 37.
Yeah, I got that inside post position there. Let's go to the final race of the afternoon, the 1 mile and 1/16th on the turf. Maiden claim is 3 and up, $12,500. A couple of jockey changes. The 5 is M.A. Vasquez. The 10 is Gerardo Corrales. 12, Luca Panici scratched the 13. How'd you see the we got our exacta flip-flop?
Yes, I've been chasing Campaigners Gold for a couple of starts now for Jose Pinchin. This one takes another little drop in class. I think this just might be the spot for him to be. He actually ran okay last time out to be beaten by 2.5 lengths. Has burned some money as the favorite, but just think this might be the right spot.
Yeah, I went with Cousin Tino. I agree. Everything you said about Campaigners Gold. This one down in the Antonio Sandoval. He's gets a sort of tepid nod from me in the nightcap after stalking the pace. He finished 3rd at this level in distance. When you're putting your Rainbow Six ticket together, if you can find singles earlier, go deeper in this race.
Absolutely agree. And talking about Antonio Sano, who also has the 8 Il Nono, who's been knocking on the door in his last couple of starts, though is a bit pace dependent.
Well, that's how we see this Saturday card, and this is the best betting card in the country. You look around, you'll not find a better betting card in here today. We got the $50,000 jackpot guarantee, Rainbow Six, races 6 through 11. We'll be back in a little while. Pete's going to take over our track announcer.
Yes, good luck today.
We have to take care of these horses that, give us so much joy.
Being accredited